another segment of the Faces of Syracuse. My name is Dan Lynch, and today we have the pleasure with sitting down with Coach Dan Sheehan, who is the head coach for the men's lacrosse team. They have just recently come off their sixth national championship win back in May. And, I used to play under Coach Sheehan and luckily was able to win a national championship under him. So, it's a little bit a different side of things today for me, but I'm excited to sit down with him and have a conversation and ask some questions. So first, Coach, we'll start kind of at a macro level. What is your personal mission statement? So when I say that, you've had a ton of success over your tenure here, and kind of what values do you hold to your core as you go through your day-to-day at Moyne?
Oh, yeah. All right. So as far as a personal Dan Sheehan mission statement, I've been working here at Moyne College for coming up on 25 years. I think when I first got the job, it was 99.9% about lacrosse. And now after putting two kids in college and a third on the way, I think that personal mission statement is, just to be a great dad, to be a great husband. I have three children at home, but 50 plus here at Moyne College. The easiest part of my job is probably going out to practice every day, and I've learned over the past few years how to challenge myself to make sure that our student athletes, guys like yourself, are ready to go out and tackle the world. I was a business major at Ithaca College, graduated in 1995, and probably unlike yourself and many other young males out there, we're gonna enter the world of finance and make $1 million and 3-car garage and all that great stuff. And I did that for a short period of time, and then realized that that was probably more someone else's dream than mine. So I started coming up to Moyne because I lived here in town, and a gentleman by the name of Shane Lynch was the head coach at the time. Asked him if he needed anybody to warm up some goalies. I was thinking about going to grad school, and next thing I know, I was hired as a volunteer. And during the course of a 2-hour practice, I probably spent an hour and a half of it thinking I was a player, and 30 minutes of it thinking I was a volunteer coach. And unfortunately, not too far into that, Shane had passed away due to melanoma, and I was just a volunteer at the time. And the athletic director, Coach Rockwell, asked me if this was anything that I'd like to do, and never really gave it much thought. Actually turned the job down, said, thanks, I appreciate it, but it's not really the direction that I'm looking to go in. And he said, all right, I'll ask you again in a week. And I said, okay. And he asked me again in a week. And, I'm not exactly sure what took place within that 7-day span, but a no went to yes. And I've been here ever since.
Down, and the crown goes to the Dolphins in the Northeast 10 Conference for the 12th time.
It was pretty difficult at first when you come in to a new situation with someone else's players and basically someone else's playbook. So it was a little bit of a balancing act, taking the talent that we had and trying to put my twist on it. I think my first season we were 6-9, and I guess at that point in time I just realized, like, hey, if we're gonna go 6-9, if this ship is gonna sink, then it's gonna sink my way. So as I was able to recruit guys that I thought would fit into my system and blend them with the talent that we had already had here, we started making some progress. And I think in 2002 we made it to the NCAA tournament for the first time, and I think it was success that Moyne had really never seen before. I don't know that anyone at Moyne other than myself thought that we could take a a relatively young lacrosse program, with the program starting at the varsity level in 1986 for the first time. Number one motivator for me right now is probably the late night text messages that I get from, we're probably getting close to, 250, 300 alumni that have played for me. In the relationships that you build with young men, when you're around them for 6 years of their life, 2 years recruiting and 4 years here, and not only those 6 years, but those 6 years, what an impressionable time it is in a young man's development, when they're 16 to 22.
Let's jump into this past season, this past national championship run. Let's touch briefly on, because, with everything that's been going on in the world in the past year and a half, 2 years or so, 2020 season ending early because of COVID, and then, in tandem, the unfortunate passing of Caden Tubbert, who was a friend of mine, a friend to everyone on the team, and I think you've even referred to him at one point as an additional son. So, with all of those factors, what was the message to the 2021 team with the emotions flying around and the uncertainty of, even having a season?
Yeah, I think the best way to describe the 2021 season was, we started early on talking about winning the day. Things were in the world, things were changing. Just finding a way to win each day, whether we had the opportunity to do something together in a small group athletically, whether it was an opportunity to, really buckle down and achieve some heights in the classroom that maybe you hadn't in the past. We had a good number of our guys that took their summer jobs and carried them into the fall semester, which down the road I think is going to benefit, tremendously as, great additional information to their resumes. So early on it was really just about winning the day, and and if it wasn't athletically, then it was in different areas of your life, because it wasn't easy to get depressed, it wasn't easy to get stuck, so just finding those little wins were, I talk a lot about all the experiences that you have over the course of a day, over the course of a week. If you take those experiences and put them in your pocket, and at the end of the day, at the end of the week, if you empty out your pockets and put them on the desk in front of you, there's an awful lot you can learn about yourself. This past year, the past 18 months, I wouldn't wish it on anybody, let alone an 18 to 22-year-old. I'm the first guy that says that they call the 4 years that you spend in undergraduate, they're supposed to be the best 4 years of your life. I believe it. I try to live it, and I try to help my student athletes fulfill that.
Looking forward to 2022, so not necessarily wins and losses or talent, but you guys did win the national championship, and I remember back in 2016, this is something that you mentioned to us, or I should say 2017, the pressure of starting at the top. What will be the message, and kind of what will you want to convey to the 2022 team when it's in season, on how to deal with that pressure and what the best way of going about it, starting at the top, because everyone's gunning for you if you're at the top and you come off a national championship win.
I think one of the things that we've done, and it's not a secret, I think Moyne lacrosse, in a lot of circles is known as the premier Division II men's lacrosse program. We have goals and aspirations of winning a national championship every year, but every year we have a different roster. The way that this is supposed to work is you're supposed to graduate your best players, and then someone else is supposed to slide up and take that seat of the next best player. And I love the fact that our alumni think there's no way that the 2022 team or beyond can be as good as our team back in 2016 or 7 or whatever. And it's, Lemoyne lacrosse did win the national championship in 2021, but the 2022 men's lacrosse team is just different. You know, and we've got to get them in front of us. We've got to get them on the field. We've got to see. There are so many factors outside of putting a ball in the back of the net or making a save or winning a face-off that determine whether or not you're going to be in the hunt. So there's a lot of information that we still need to gather. One of the benefits that we have, again, is, you know, the new faces showing up here in a couple of weeks at Moyne College to start the school year. Those kids all made decisions because Lemoyne, number one, is a fantastic education. Number two, they came here because we, in the past, have had a very strong men's lacrosse program. So that I think that helps when you continue to put winners or young men with winning attitudes in your locker room.
The Faces of Syracuse is a role modeling platform, you know, for the people, you know, athletes, young professionals, or even older professionals that may watch this video. You know, what piece of advice would you give them going forward? And you can relate it to sports, you can relate it to themselves in their professional career. Just give us a little bit of insight there.
You know, I think if we were to talk numbers, you know, you're probably not the only person in your class to get 100 on a test. You're probably not the only person on your team to score 2 or 3 goals in a game. So when it comes to competing, when it comes to, you know, being the best version of yourself, you know, I think your attitude and your effort and what you bring to the table, with the understanding that there's probably somebody just as talented in the room, if not more talented. So what can you bring to the table that differentiates yourself, your coworker, from your teammate? Hard work isn't an event. It's who they are. It's how they operate. You know, that's probably the best advice is, you know, what's going to separate you from the pack when talent is equal.
That's great. I want to thank you for sitting down with us, Coach. It's been a pleasure.
I appreciate you having me. You know, it's been fun browsing the website and watching all the interviews. And I hope that I represented, and you know, look forward to seeing more in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks very much, Coach.
Thank you.
Good luck going forward in the 2022 season.
Sounds good. Thank you.